Thanks for joining us today. I'm Gabe Garish, owner of Backwoods Pursuit, and today we're going to compare Magpul bipods. We've got the standard Magpul bipod and the newer MOE from Magpul. Wanted to show you what the feature differences are between these two and why you might pick one over the other. They definitely have some distinct differences you want to know about before you select which one is going to work best for you. As always, really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put links to that all down in the description, as well as a link to our website, backwoods.pursuit.com. There's a ton of gear reviews over there. Go check that out, and I'll put a link to the Magpul bipods so you can check them out for yourself. Let's get started. All right, now some of the primary differences you're going to see between the standard and the MOE bipods from Magpul. The MOE was really built as an ultralight option as far as bipods go. It shaves some weight, so if you're building a lightweight rifle, that's the option here. That's what this does here. This comes at 8.9 ounces, whereas the standard option comes in at 11.8 ounces on my scale, weighed them both. So that's one of the big differences. That's why they built the MOE bipod, if you want to save ounces anywhere you can. So one of the other differences here on the MOE is it only comes currently in the sling stud style attachment like this. So your big knob on the bottom here, and then those clamps, the steel clamps, attach onto your sling stud. Now you can get adapters if you have a Picatinny rail or something of that nature to make this work if you want to, but this is currently just offered in the sling stud style. Now the standard option comes in 4 different configurations, and those are a Picatinny rail like I've got here. You've also got the sling stud attachment like this here that does add a couple of ounces to the bipod. This comes in at 13 ounces, where again we're at 11.8. So the sling stud offering does add a little bit of weight. And then also comes an M-lock and an ARMS S17 option, attachment option if you have that. So you have more options with the Magpul standard option than you do with the MOE. Currently, maybe they'll add some other options here, but right now, if you need the other style of attachments like a Picatinny rail, then this may be a better option for you to attach directly. Now, some of the major differences in the features which are probably going to push you in one direction or the other based on what you need. These standard options offer pan and tilt this is a Picatinny rail option, so you've got the ability to pan or tilt, and that's both adjusted by this knob here. Now, the sling stud option in the standard version here has tilt, but it does not have pan. So that's a big difference. Some folks don't realize that with the sling stud attachment option in the standard version, and then they're disappointed to find out that it does not have a pan on this option here. Now, the MOE does not have pan or tilt. So again, that can be a deal breaker for some folks if you really need that for, say, shooting off of a side hill or uneven terrain. The ability to cant or pan can really make a big difference in usability, but if you're shooting more on flat ground, then that's not a big deal. Or if you just, that weight savings is really what you're looking for, then that's an option, a really good option there with the MOE bipod. So that's some of the differences there. Another thing to note here is that with this, the MOE here that has the sling stud attachment and the sling stud attachment of the standard version, they both offer and both have the sling stud attachment right here on the front of it, so you can still attach your rifle sling on the front there, whereas the Picatinny rail does not have that, so you don't have that ability. You have to use an attachment on your Picatinny rail to go ahead and add a sling stud if you need to use that feature. So something to take into consideration on the various options and models. Now, as far as construction here, another one of the major differences you're going to find between the standard and the MOE is in the leg construction. They're all made of polymer on the outside of the legs, but the interior of the standard version is an aluminum, whereas on the MOE you have a polymer on the outside and then also a polymer on the inside. So that's where some of that weight savings comes from. Now, from a functionality perspective, what I found in this, using this, is that the polymer on polymer here creates a little bit less play, if you will. so it's a little bit tighter of a slide there on extending those legs. Whereas with the polymer on the aluminum, it's a little more silky smooth, and it has a little bit nicer slide to it there, but there's also a little bit more play between that. So you know, kind of pick what fits you best, but I did like how the new MOE was a little bit tighter, a little more snug in that, but it doesn't slide quite as easily either. So that I didn't like that quite as much because I'm used to the real silky smooth sliding mechanism here on the Magpul standard. So something to take into consideration there. Now, as far as height, they're pretty much the same. The standard Magpul is 6.8 to 10.3 inches as far as the height adjustments, and the MOE is 7 to 10 inches. So effectively the same thing there. You're not giving up anything going with one model or the other. Now, effective use on the range here or out in the field that I did note in using both of these, I found that, as we noted in our Magpul video a while ago, that you really have to load these bipods, and by load it meaning pushing into the gun, really put some tension on the rifle when you're getting ready to shoot. And so that's really something you need to do, particularly with the standard model. That's also the case with the MOE, but there's a little bit less play in the legs here as they're compared to the standard model. So that part is kind of nice. I do like that about the MOE a little bit better. There's a little bit less to deal with there as far as that Magpul wobble that we talked about in that other video. So take that in consideration. There still is certainly that little bit of play in there, and that's designed that way by Magpul so that you can load that bipod and put some good tension on that to help control recoil with your rifle. So take that into consideration. But that is the difference between the standard and the MOE Magpul bipods. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment or a question there. Love to hear what you think about the options, what would work for you and what wouldn't. Love to help you out if we can. I'll put a link to all these down in the description for you so you can check them out for yourself. Thanks for watching here today, and we will see you next time.